Yes, Mr.
The court, please, my lord, we apologize for the delay in commencing with the proceedings this morning. Accused number 3 and 5 had to commission certain affidavits for the purpose of the application that they are bringing relating to their incarceration.
Yes, yes.
The state calls the next witness, Brigadier Bongani Nicholas Gininda.
You remain under oath, sir?
Yes, my lord. Thank you.
Brigadier, you are in the employ of the South African police and attached to the court case unit.
That is correct, my lord.
Wasenzela isiphoyisa and ungaphansi kwaleqembu elisenza eNkantolo Yebo.
You've already testified in the trial within a trial in this matter. Is that correct?
Yes, my lord, that's true.
Athi uliqiniso ukuthi ungufakazi trial within a trial.
And that can be seen from the record of the proceedings dated 27 November 2023, commencing on page 34 thereof.
Yes, my lord, that's correct.
Yebo kuyabonakala ukuthi kwenzeka lokho ngomhla 27 kuNovember 2023.
Your rank also appears on the record of the 27th of November 2023 on page 39 thereof, lines
Iyavela mhla 27 kuNovember 2023.
Correct, my lord.
lines
Yebo kunjalo.
lines 9 to 10.
That is correct, my lord.
Do you confirm the evidence that you gave in the trial within a trial?
I do confirm it, my lord.
Athi ngiyakuqinisekisa ubufakazi engabuletha ku-trial within a trial usho ukuthi icala lingaphakathi kwelinye.
Your career history appears on the record that we've referred to from page 39 onwards. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
And in particular pages 40 and 42 of the record. This is where your career history is set out.
Correct, my lord.
Athi umlando webizelo lakho uyabonakala lapho.
On page 42 of the record, the mandate of the cold case unit is set out. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
Athi kuyabonakala umsebenzi we-cold case unit ubekiwe nawo.
And on page 43 of the record, you deal with the date on which the current docket was allocated to your team.
That is correct, my lord.
Kubekiwe futhi nosuku lapho owanikwa khona idocket.
And just for the record, can you once again repeat as to how many members does your unit consist of?
So, insofar as this matter, my lord, we are three, the investigators. That is myself, Sergeant Mokola, the female Sergeant Mokola, and Sergeant Mohane, currently.
Okwamanje ke sibathathu kusikuleli thimba eliphenya leli cala mina o Sergeant Mokola ongowesifazane no Sergeant Mohane.
Now, on page 43 of the record, lines 5 to 6, you mention the date on which this matter was allocated to you. Is that correct?
That is correct, which is the 12th of November 2018, my lord.
Kubekiwe lapha ku page 43 ukuthi ngathola nganikezela ngaleli cala mhla 12 November 2018.
And just for the record, can you just mention the case number of the matter that the court is seized with?
So, yes, my lord, it's Phosphorus 636 of 10/2014.
Leli cala ke icala ethiwa Phosphorus 636 of 10 of 2014.
Another docket has been mentioned in these proceedings that ran parallel to the main case. Is that correct?
Yes, I've heard about it, my lord. That will be Phosphorus 375 of 1/2019.
Tikhona ke leli eni cala lijobelele kulelo Phosphorus 375 of 1 of 2019.
But in that aspect, my lord, maybe one should put it into context that that case 375, it's not a murder docket. It's a defeating docket that was opened by Warrant Officer Makubo as the complainant. The only murder docket of the deceased, that is Robert Senzo Robert Meyiwa, it's this matter that is before court. There is no other murder docket that is registered out there.
Ngifanele ngichaze ukuthi ucase 375 of 1 of 19 akulona icala lokubulala icala nje elikhona lokubulala ka Senzo Robert Miwa ucase 636 of 10 of 2014 leli cala liqulwa lona manje.
You have already mentioned a name of an investigator who's associated with this other investigation, Phosphorus case 3751 of 2019. Is that the only investigator who's associated with that investigation?
No, my lord. There is also a Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi, who is also associated with the docket 375 of 1/2019.
Adikhona futhi no Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi or sevenza kuleli cala case 375 of 1 of 2019.
Brigadier, can you, in your own words, give a background of what happened after you were seized with this matter that is currently before court, and also at the same time deal with how the other investigation, Phosphorus case 3751 of 2019, came into existence?
Yes, my lord. So, when we were appointed, my lord, and I'll go back to November 12, 2018, Warrant Officer Makubo as well as Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi were part of the investigation team. So I was appointed to lead the team, and then they were seconded to work under myself, together with Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala, who was part of the cold case unit. Is now since retired, my lord.
Umasuka ke leli cala mhla 12/11/2018 kukhona Warrant Officer Makubo no Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi ababeqoke ukusebenza kuleli cala. Mina ke ngangumholi wabo, kodwa ke kwakukhona ke futhi nomunye uRamukhale osekhotheme kodwa owayesebenza kulo leli cala.
So the cold case unit, which included myself, this Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala, female Sergeant Mokula, Sergeant Mofane, were basically in charge of leading this current matter, my lord.
Manje mina ke no Sergeant Ramohala no Mukula no Mofane sasikowe ukuthi ke sihole ke ekuphenyeni licala.
Yes, but in terms of the appointment, the four of us, meaning myself, Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala, Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi, and Warrant Officer Makubo, were specifically designated to look into this matter, me being the lead investigating officer on the matter.
Thina ke mina no Ramohala no Butelezi no Mukula sasicela ke nje ukuthi ke sihole uphenyo lwalicala mina ke ngiwumholi waleli team.
Now, my lord, after I've signed for the docket and received it, there were theories when we were briefed, maybe a theory when we were briefed in terms of receiving the docket, that there seems to be a suspicion that the shooter or the person who killed the deceased in this matter was inside the house, and it could not make sense to the management as to why the previous investigation team and the others that were there could not address that matter. In other words, deal with the people who were inside the house. So that was part of the briefing that we got to say, look into this matter. This is the information that seems to be running around, and you need now to see if you can get to the bottom of it. Of course, if it is true.
So ke kokukhona ke nombono ukuthi ke
My lord, the witness is referring to a theory of which maybe it needs to be unpacked, whether it was the investigation that revealed that evidence or it is a hearsay evidence through the investigation. Because, my lord, if the witness says after signing the docket there was a theory that a person who shot the deceased was inside the house, so the objection is on the fact that it must be cleared whether it was part of the investigation which led to that theory, or it was the hearsay, or it's the evidence they had. As the court pleases me.
Well, I'm baffled by that objection. Well, it's already on record that there were two theories, and the witness is just merely rehashing the mandate that was given to them, and I think the objection is with respect premature. The witness will deal with all these aspects.
Why do you say it's hearsay evidence?
My lord, I was saying because I do not understand the theory, what the theory is, my lord. That's why I was saying at least if it can be unpacked, that it was as a part of the investigation or part of the evidence they had as investigating team, my lord, so that one will understand whether it amounts to a hearsay or what type of evidence, my lord.
No, but they say he says there was a report made to him on assuming command of the investigation that there are allegations, you don't want to call it a theory, there are allegations that the person who allegedly murdered the deceased was inside the house.
Yes, my lord.
Is that what you're saying, sir?
That's what I'm saying, my lord.
My lord, then if it was a report that was made to him, then it has to be disclosed. It's a report by who?
Yes, sir.
So, my lord, I stand up to support the objection of my learned colleague, Advocate Mngomezulu. Somebody must have actually made such a report. Who is that person for one to make a conclusion that this exists as a theory?
My lord, we need to look no further than the proposition that was put by Mr. Mngomezulu himself.
What did he
that,
say
that,
about the theory?
That Longway is the person who shot the deceased. Now, this is what the witness is saying, and now there's an objection.
This is examination in chief.
Hello?
Yes.
This is examination in chief. This is the new evidence brought by Brigadier Kinindi in chief in the main trial.
Well, Lord, we have a lot of ground to cover. We're not going to detain ourselves with such trivialities.
It is the court matter. It is not a triviality. I think the state probably used a very inaccurate term there. Because we're also concerned about the source of this report to the effect that the shooter was one of the people in the house. What is the source of that information, or who is the source of that information? That's our concern, because we cannot treat this as just a mere triviality. Can be.
Please, my lord, we will deal with that in due course. Brigadier, just perhaps for the record, there was a briefing in this matter when it was assigned to you, is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
And for the purpose of the record, can you just mention as to who assigned the matter to you?
I received the instruction from then National Commissioner General Ketha Sitole. He's the one that gave me the directive, my lord.
Ngathola ke isicelo sasuvela kulo wayemkhuzo wamaphoyisa ngaleso sikhathi okuGeneral Ketha Sitole.
You mentioned that the other members of the team, Lieutenant Colonel Ramuhala, Sergeant Mohola, and Sergeant Mohani, came from the cold case unit. Can you just maybe explain the other members, Warrant Officer Makubo and Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi, how did they come into the picture?
Well, when I was briefed and given the mandate to take command of this investigation, my lord, I was informed that they will form part of this team. They were seconded. As to how, I don't know, but that was the indication to me, and then subsequently we met and then we worked together for some time, but through the difference of opinions, we sort of went to different directions.
Yes.
Sergeant Ramukhala Nomukhane sasisebenza nabo kulolu daba, kodwa ke uMakhubo noButhelezi ngatshelwa nje ukuthi ke nabo ke bazongena kulolu daba bazosenza nathi ukuthi beza kanjani angizange ngichazele.
Did you know from which units of the police they came from?
Yes, Warrant Officer Makubo was from the DPCI, I think in Germiston. Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi, she was a captain then. She's from the psychologist unit, I think FSL in Pretoria.
Makubo yena wayephuma eDPCI eGermiston, uButhelezi wayekapteni ku psychology unit eSepitoli.
What happened then after the matter was assigned to the team that you led?
Yes, so the first directive that I gave, my lord, is that copies of the docket must be made for each member of the team. That was done, my lord. The purpose thereof was, which was part of my directive, was so that each and every member of the team can analyze, can read the docket and make sense as to whether, what happened based on the preliminary evidence. Based on the preliminary statements and evidence that was collected. Can we say they were perpetrators, and who are they, if the docket indicates such? And if there are no perpetrators, what evidence do we have? As I said, we were sitting with the primary thing of establishing whether they were intruders, and if they were intruders, who are they, which was the purpose of dealing with this matter. And in the absence of the intruders, based on the evidence, who were then the perpetrators of this murder of the deceased, my lord?
Inhloso yokuthi kwenziwe amakhophi ale docket kwakwenzela ukuthi wonke umuntu okhona lapha kuleli thimba lami akwazi ukubheka ahlaziye ukuthi kwakungabeke kuhobani abenza lento uma kungekho bantu esibatholayo sibheke ukuthi ubufakazi obukhona okunjani singabuthola uma kungekho sibheke ukuthi obani-ke ababengene lapho behlasela noma kungekho-ke lokho siqhubeke nokuphenya.
Now, my lord, after on a specific time where now we obviously had to meet and get together in terms of what we found, it was clear that the views are the same. They still believe that there were no intruders.
Njengoba-ke sesitholile lo msebenzi khona-ke okwasigcina sibona ukuthi kuyafana ukuthi abekho ababehlasela.
Based on what I've analyzed, I believe there were intruders, my lord.
Kuloko engangikubhekileke mina ngaqaphela ngibonile ukuthi babekhona abantu ababengenile.
Just a minute. Now, who held the view that there were no intruders?
Banikwa icanga ukuthi ababengekho abantu ababehlasela.
Warrant Usamakubu and Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi were of that view, my lord.
Ababe nalo mqondo Warrant Officer Makubu no Captain Buthelezi.
And I must also admit, my lord, before actually reading the document thoroughly, I also believed at some stage when we were briefed, say there were no intruders. But obviously, when one looked at the docket, the evidence told me otherwise.
Nami-ke nalo mqondo ukuthi babengekho abantu abahlasele kodwa-ke uma ngiyibhekisisile idocket ngabona ukuthi kufanele kube khona ababehlasele.
And what was your initial view based on?
Well, it wasn't
There were
really,
no intruders.
it wasn't really based on any facts, my lord, because it was before I had an opportunity to really look at the docket, except what I was hearing. But when one looked at the docket, and I will deal with what convinced me, my lord, you know, I had to look at certain facts that were contained in the docket, and those facts made me come to a conclusion that there is no other way there were intruders.
Okay, mina okokuqala umbono wami kwawuphuma nje ekutheni yini engangiyizwile kodwa uma sengibheka-ke sengifundisisa idocket ngagcina ngibonile ukuthi ekugcineni kufanele kube khona abahlaseli ababekhona.
Yes, but perhaps maybe just to deal with it in a more structured way, you make copies for members of all members of the team. You ask them to go and read the evidence and analyze it. What happened thereafter?
So we would have then got together, my lord, where now these different views came up that, you know, there's the two that I've mentioned, the two members believe they were intruders, and we had a view, I had a view, together with Colonel Ramohala, that the evidence suggests that they were intruders. And it is based on that slowly then we went apart. There was no formal arrangement for the team, these other two members, to stop working with us, but they sort of, we just went different directions, my lord. And that gave rise to the opening of the docket 375 of 1/2019. I was not aware of it.
Ekuqaleni-ke njengoba sengishilo ukuthi u-Warrant Officer Makubu noButhelezi babe nalo mqondo ukuthi babengekho abantu ababehlasele. Mina-ke noRamkhala sasibona ukuthi impela bakhona abantu ababekhona ababehlasele. Yilokho kwagcina kwenze ukuthi kube nokwehlukana. Yilapho-ke kwavula khona le docket u-375 mina engingenalwazi olukhulu ngayo.
I learned at a lesser stage, my lord, after this docket was opened, that it was in existence, and it was suggesting that certain people in the house were involved, or rather.
Menje-ke mina-ke ngathi gcina sengizwe kamuva ukuthi ikhona le docket ekhona ebiphenya ukuthi ngalo umhlahlandlela ukuthi kwakukhona abantu ababekhona la ngaphakathi endlini.
Correct, yes. I also heard, my lord, that it dealt with the issue of, you know, I'm just summing up. I know that you want us to go there.
Yes, we'll get there. When was this?
Sorry, can I ask the witness to raise his voice? I can hardly hear since I'm far away from the witness.
Yeah.
Are you aware as to who opened this docket for Slaughter's 3751 of 2019?
Uyazi ukuthi ubani owavula le docket le u-First Lawrence 375 of 1 of 2019?
Yes, according to the system, my lord, it's warrant officer Makubo.
Yebo, ngokuya-ke ngomshini le docket yavula u-warrant officer Makubo.
I may also add, my lord, the reason I did not have that much information, I never had sight of this docket. The only time I saw it briefly, not actually perusing it, but seeing the file, was at the DPP's office here in Pretoria on the 29th of January 2020, but seeing the file, not actually the contents, that was the first time.
Ngicela ukuphawula ukuthi yini indaba nginalwazi olukhulu ngale file le ukuthi nje angizange ngiyibone le file kakhulu. Into engayenza ukuthi ngiyibone kancane nje ngilunguze kwa DPP ngomhla 21st kuJanuary
2020.
January 2020.
29.
Mhla 29 kuJanuary 2020.
Then the second time was when, my lord, it was ordered, I think in 22 by the court, that it must be disclosed to the defense, and obviously then it was made available to the state advocate, and we had to make copies. I think that would have been 2022 or so. That was really the first time when we were making copies, I actually had sight of it for the first time.
And uthi ibone okokuqala ila kwakuthiwe khona ke ifanele ke ivezwe futhi yenzelwe ama-copy abameli ila kwenziwa kwaphoqa ukuthi ke nathi sikwazi ukuthi siyithole siyibuke.
Are you able to put a month as to when in 2022 that was, when you first had sight of the contents of this docket,
My lord,
3751 of 2019?
yes, yeah, 37541. Yeah, I think it will be after September, October, around that period, because I know that was the time the DPP and myself were given instruction to get this docket for the defense. So it was around that period, September, October 2022, my lord.
Ngicela ukuthi nyanga September noma October ngoba ingalesi sikhathi DPP acela khona ukuthi senze ama-copy ale document senzela abameli.
You mentioned that you first saw the docket at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions on 29 January 2020. Can you just briefly deal with the circumstances under which you saw that docket?
Manje ngaphansi kwasiphi isimo uze ngomhla ka-29 January 2020 nikwazi ukubona le document?
Yes, so the circumstances were as follows, my lord. Subsequent to the differences that arose between us, let's say the investigators that were nominated, and I'm including Warrant Officer Makubo and Buthelezi.
Emva kokuthi ke kube nokwehlukana ngembono phakathi kwethu no Warrant Officer Makubo.
The National Commissioner then appointed a Brigadier Perumal, to actually come and lead. And one, it was for the purpose of him making analysis on what is contained in the docket, and secondly, to lead the team now between the SAPS and the NPA, because it was not how do I put it, my lord? It was not a suitable environment between the parties that were involved, and it was overflowing to the NPA in terms of who now must brief the NPA with these different views that were now taken to them on this matter.
Kuthi emva kwalokho ke ukwathi emva ukuthi kuqale ukuphenywa lolu daba lolu kwagcina ke sekubekwa u-National Commissioner waqoka uBrigadier Perumal ukuthi ahlazele i-docket yaleli cala nokuthi ahole uphenyo ngoba kwakunengxaki yokuthi ke phakathi kwe-NPA ne-SAPS ubani ohola uphenyo lwalolu daba ngoba kufanele kube nathi thina sifanele sikwazi ukutshela i-NPA siba briefing ukuthi kwenzekani kuleli cala.
Now, Brigadier Perumal, my lord, was at that stage leading, I think, the commercial unit in the Eastern Cape. He was from the Eastern Cape.
Manje uBrigadier Perumal ngaleso sikhathi waye ngaphansi kwe-commercial unit e-Eastern Cape.
And he was assisted by then Colonel Lords, who was from the DPCI anti-corruption unit. He's now a brigadier in the Western Cape also for the anti-corruption unit.
Ngaleso sikhathi kwayehola uKolonel Lords.
Colonel Lords is now a brigadier. Lords.
uKolonel Lords ke manje sekuthiwa useyibrigadier.
Now, my lord, when they came on board, I was asked by them to avail the docket at the time, which I did so that they could make copies, analyze the docket, because they needed to brief the NATCOM.
Manje kuthiwa ngaleso sikhathi ke ngacelwa ukuthi ngenze amakhophi ke edocket ukuze bakwazi ukubreak i-NAFCO.
I also do know, my lord, that they tried to find the other docket because when they came on board, it was after this 375 docket was already opened.
Manje ngiyazi ukuba bazama ukuthola le document ngoba ngaleso sikhathi ngiyazi ukuthi idocket ka-375 leselivuliwe.
But they did not succeed.
Kodwa abazange bakwazi ukwenza lokho.
Just a minute. If you say they, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to Brigadier Perumal and Brigadier Lords.
Ngisho uBrigadier Perumal noBrigadier Lords.
But why were they unsuccessful in their efforts to obtain a copy of this docket 3751 of 2019?
Yini indaba bahlula ukuthi bathole le docket ye-375?
I was informed, my lord, that they received resistance when Brigadier Perumal tried to phone the two members with an intention of getting this docket. From what he told me, there was resistance, a mere resistance, and as a result, they did not succeed.
So ngaleso sikhathi ke bathola ukuthi bahlangabezana nenkinga uma bezama ukukhuluma nalamalunga amabili bethi bezama ukuthola le document.
Yes, we can just perhaps leave out of account what he told you, but the fact of the matter is they were not successful in getting a copy of CAS 3751 of 2019.
That is correct. They were not successful, my lord.
Athi yebo abazange bakwazi ukuphumelela ekuyithubeleni le document.
Yes. Now, they then, after analyzing the docket, my lord, they, I know that there was a meeting with the National Commissioner where they briefed him, obviously, of the challenge that I've mentioned and what they saw on this docket in terms of the view. It must also be mentioned, my lord, or noted that at that stage, we were not in sight of any of these accused. So it was just merely, what is the docket telling us? Is it telling us that they were intruders, or is it telling us that there were no intruders? So as to who were the perpetrators at that stage, we were not there. There was no clue and none whatsoever at that stage.
So ngaleso sikhathi ke bathi mabehlaziya le document beyibheka bahamba bahlangana ne-National Commissioner ukuthi bazomchazela ukuthi baboneni kule document le ngoba ngaleso sikhathi ke kwakungakabi nabasolwa kodwa ke kwakuna le document phela bafanele bachaze ukuthi yini abayibonayo ngaphakathi ukuthi babe khona yini abahlaseli noma babengekho ngoba abantu ke kuthiwa ke babe ngathoswa leli cala babengabibi.
The report that was given, my lord, was that they were of the view that there were perpetrators who came into the house, as much as they do not know who, but the evidence suggested that there were perpetrators who came into the house.
Yes.
I'm not sure if such report has been handed over to the defense.
Yes.
I'm not sure if such report has been handed over to the defense.
They share their view with you. What happened further?
Bathi ngaleso sikhathi ke nanoma babecabanga ukuthi babekhona abahlaseli ababekhona lapho nanoma ke babengakabibikho abasolwa.
I was then, my lord, asked by them that I should introduce them now to the prosecutor from the NPA that is dealing with that matter at that stage, because it was already assigned to the North Gauteng DPP.
Ngasengicela ke ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi ngibahlanganiseke nomshushisi owayeshushisa lelo cala ngaleso sikhathi.
That, my lord, led me to me making arrangements with the DPP, and subsequently then that meeting of the 29th of January 2020 then took place, where Brigadier Perumal was there for the first time to meet the DPP and obviously indicate that he will be leading, from the ACPS side on the directive of the NPA, and obviously the directive or the direction that the investigation will be taking.
With due respect, we're going to request the Brigadier to raise up his voice once again, because he starts well, but towards the end of his explanation, it's becoming faint. We are unable to follow everything that is saying.
My lord, I'm speaking as much as I can, so I will consider that, because
Somebody can switch off this aircon.
Apparently they're centrally
Oh, it's
controlled.
central, by the way.
It cannot be switched on.
I will do my best, my lord, but I'm doing the best I can.
Yes, you can continue. Perhaps
So,
if you can just move the dockets to the side and get closer to the microphone.
it's this one I'm using.
Yes,
This one.
yeah.
Yes. So then on the 29th of January, my lord, 2020, we then met the team that was assembled, or rather that was assigned from the NPA to deal with this matter.
Ngomhla 29 kuJanuary 2020 ilesahla nakhona nethimba elaliqokwe ukuthi lubheke lolu daba.
The names that I recall, it was Advocate Leonard.
Oyabanye ke ngibakhumbulayo Advocate Leonard,
I think there was also Advocate Mahwata
ngikhumbula mhlambe futhi no Advocate Makwata
and Advocate Baloyi, that is before court. my
no
lord.
Advocate Baloyi ola phambi kwenkantolo.
Yes.
My lord, so the Brigadier obviously introduced himself, and the two members, I'm just not sure whether they arrived first or they found us there, but Warrant Officer Makubo and Buthelezi also arrived.
Warrant Officer Makubu and who else?
Buthelezi.
No Buthelezi nabo bafika ngisakhumbula ukuthi laba abanye bazethulana noma bazethulana.
And that is a day, my lord, where I said they were in possession now of this 375 docket, which obviously I saw from the distance when they were addressing the DPP about
Yila
it.
ngithi khona ngabona ke le docket 375 engithi mina ngayibona kodwa ikude.
Yes.
And it was also the first time that Brigadier Perumal, my lord, came face to face with them, obviously after facing the challenge of getting the copies of the docket.
Ilapho ke Brigadier Perumal wabonana nabo emva kokuthi athole le docket.
Yes.
The meeting, my lord, didn't really end well because the Brigadier was taking exception about the protocol that was not being followed, discipline. So it didn't end well, which ended with the two members leaving with that docket from the DPP, leaving us behind with the state advocates.
Lapho ke umhlangano zange uphele kahle ngoba uBrigadier Penman wayekhononda ukuthi ke inqubo enhle ayizange ilandelwe nokuthi ke abazange basebenze ngendlela enhle. Ilapho ke laba ababili basuka behamba naleyo docket.
Yes.
Obviously, the investigations and the instructions, my lord, we didn't discuss when we left, with the DPP to say what is their view, what must be followed, those nitty-gritty were discussed. Obviously, after these issues were dealt with, these differences and the arguments, my lord.
Sebehambileke kwakhulunywa ngokuthi uphenyo lufanele lwenzeke kanjani-ke nokuthi-ke kufanele kulandulwe yiphi indlela yokubuka umbono omuphi nokuthi kufanele kwenzeke kanjani-ke emva kokuthi-ke kukhulunyeke nanokuthi-ke kwakuhlukanwa kanjani ngembono ngaphambili.
Yes.
Yes, I think my recollection, my lord, that's what happened on the 29th at the DPP's office.
Engikhumbulayo-ke ukuthi lokhu kwenza mhla 29 ehhovisi lika DPP.
And you mentioned that you never saw the docket until in September of 2022.
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo angizange ngiphinde ngiyibone le docket yofika mhla September 2022.
And is it correct that at that stage the previous proceedings were underway?
That is correct, my lord.
Futhi-ke leli kwakuqula-ke kwakusaqhubeka ngaleso sikhathi.
Brigadier, if we can then come back to what you mentioned earlier on, that upon your assessment of the docket, there were certain facts that informed you that there were intruders.
Absolutely, my lord. There were those factors, but as I was looking into those factors, I must also mention that I was looking at them in relation to Longo Twala, because in the midst of those allegations, Longo's name was coming up as a possible suspect who may have shot.
Khona uningi engangibhekile ngaphakathi kwale docket lo, engangibhekile ukuthi-ke kwakhulunywa kakhulu ngoLongethwala ngokuthi uyena wayedubulile. Uyena wayedutshuka.
Who may have shot the deceased.
Ukuthi uyena oyengaba edubule umufi.
Yes.
So one of the things that I looked at, my lord, obviously when I looked at the docket, was to establish that according to the preliminary statements which the defense has, there was a report that one of the cell phone belonging to Miss Kelly Kumalo was robbed. That was one of the allegations that was said there.
Please come again, I didn't hear you.
So in the preliminary reporting, in other words, your A1 statements, it was alleged, my lord, that during this robbery that led now to the killing of the deceased, a cell phone belonging to Miss Kelly Kumalo was taken by the intruders.
Qaleni-ke kwaphenya kwabonakala ukuthi ngesikhathi-ke kuhlaselwa lapha i-cellphone kaKelly Kumalo nayo yantshontsha.
I was able to establish a specific number that was taken, my lord, because she had two cell phones that were disclosed according to the docket.
Mina ngakwazi ukuthola ukuthi yiphi number ngoba inamba zombili zaziveziwe kusho ukuthi inamba zikaKelly Kumalo.
Yes, so there was a 082 number, I think it's 703, I forgot the last four numbers, that was not taken. Then the 072 is the one that was alleged to have been taken by the perpetrators.
Kulezi number embili-ke u-082 no-072 eyayithathiwe-ke u-082.
No, 072.
U-072.
Now, my lord, I looked at the cell phone records that were already available, that were requested by the first investigation team, because after they took over the matter, they applied for Section 205, and those records of all the numbers of the people who were in the house were available on the docket.
So-ke ngabheka-ke umbiko ukhuluma ngala mafoni ngoba wonke amafoni alaba bebekhona ngaphakathi kwakucelwe imbiko ngaphansi ka section 205.
What one could establish, what I could establish, my lord, is that before the incident took place, you can place all the cell phones, including this particular one that was alleged to be taken, on that one tower. In other words, the people who were in the house, inclusive of the alleged stolen phone, was under one tower, so they were at the crime scene.
Kuthiwa ke wonke ke lamafoni ke kuyabonakala ukuthi ayebonwa itower eyodwa kusho ukuthi wonke lamafoni ayesendaweni yobugebengu.
Now, after the shooting, the shooting incidents, the people who were in the house, my lord, moved to the hospital and they were picked up by the tower at the hospital.
Manje emva kokudutshulwa bonke abantu ababekhona lapha endaweni yobugebengu bahamba baye esibhedlela ngoba bonke amafoni abo aqhumana nale tower yasesibhedlela.
And that is in line with their statements that I was reading in the docket, my lord.
Lokho kuhambisana nezitatimende ezazikhona lapha edokethini.
However, the alleged robbed phone takes a different direction, and when they were sitting at the hospital, the tower was the robbed cell phone was picking up a different tower at Muleleki section.
Can you repeat it again?
So I'm saying, my all right.
1, 3.
All right. So after the shooting, my lord, or the incident had taken place, the people, the people who were in the house moved to the hospital. That is when they were taking the deceased. That is corroborated by their statements and their cell phone location places them in the tower that covers the clinic. However, my lord, the robbed phone went to a different direction. And I could not get an explanation as to who was in possession of this cell phone except the intruder, because one could confirm everyone who was in the house at the hospital. In other words, my lord, if there were no intruders, one would not have expected the phone to go to a different direction. It would have remained at the scene or go with the people who were in the house to the same direction.
Manje uma uba ukuthi babengekho ababehlasele nayo le phone yayobe iyesibhedlela noma iselekhaya ngaphandle ke uma kuukuthi kwakukhona ababehlasele.
Just a minute.
Yes. So that was the first piece of evidence, my lord, that I looked at that told me there was a problem. The second one is just
If you say that indicated to you there was a problem, what do you mean?
Well, when I said it was a problem, I'm referring to the suggestion that there were no intruders, because it was clear someone was in possession of that phone to a different direction.
Just a minute. Now, cell phone evidence has been placed before this court by Ms. Pinky Fillingham. And I just want to refer you to Exhibit J1.
Yes, my lord.
It's her affidavit.
Miss Pinky Fillingham. Umbiko wakhe ukhona lapha ku exhibit umbukiso JJ1.
And I just wish to draw your attention to page 1188 of her affidavit.
Yes.
Those are extracts of Section 205 pertaining to a specific number.
Lapho kucaphunwe section 205 mayelana nenumber ethize.
Referring to the GPRS stream of that particular number.
Ukusho ukuthi ama message e-GPRS ayephuma kuleyo number.
Can you just place that number on record?
Cela usitshele ukuthi yiphi leyo number?
So the number, my lord, it's 072.
Number 072.
Yeah, it's written small, my lord. Can I use my phone, my lord, just quickly to
Wait, is it not legible there?
No, it's not, my lord. But I know it's 072. I can see. Then it's 93. I can see the last numbers is 249. If I can, maybe please.
Okay.
Yeah, nice one. No, it's not legible, my lord. But I can see that the last number is two. The last three numbers is 249. 249, and it starts with 072. I think it's 93. I don't see what comes after 3, my lord, but then it's 249.
Mr. Baloyi, you don't have a copy of that document.
We'll refer you to another exhibit of Lieutenant Colonel Stein. That's exhibit O. It's exhibit O, page 33. Where reference is made to a number. Can you just place that number on record?
Okay.
On page 33 at the bottom.
33 at the bottom. Yeah, but at the bottom, 072, my lord. 9382495.
Is 072 938 2495.
No, I think it's 98, my lord. Sorry, it's 8.
2498.
Yes, 072 938 2498, my lord. That's the number.
Yes. And the name of the person against whom that number appears?
Kelly Kumalo.
So le phone eka Kelly Kumalo.
You earlier mentioned that you were able to establish two of the numbers, and that the one number started with 082, the other one with 072. Are you able to recognize that number?
So the bottom one, my lord, this 072 is the second number that I was able to establish. The 082, I don't see it on page 33, my lord.
Yes.
On page 33 of Colonel Stein's statement.
Yes.
Angikwazi ukuyibona estatementini sika Kenneth Stein le yesibili numbers.
Just at the top, just there where your hand is. Just at the bottom of the page.
At the bottom of the page.
Scott, please, I see it's almost time for the normal short adjournment. Can you adjourn?
Yeah, okay, fine. Let's adjourn for 15 minutes.